tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Super Late Model Recap. And now, here are your hosts, Terry Bridges and Jeff Eden. Oh, what is going on, racers? I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges, and welcome to another Super Late Model Monday. Jeff isn't here. It's his birthday today, the loader, Jeff Eden. So, he's off tonight. So I'll be kicking it with you, talking a little late model stuff from over the weekend. I will say I got to do the, I know it's not late models, but still, I got to do the Quarter Midgets of America Western Grand Nationals. They had 301 cars there over the week. Took us 2 days to do the low or the qualifying heats, and then a couple days to do the lower mains, and then on Saturday we had a good A main, just A mains all day. Super cool, super awesome. That's the next generation up and coming. So it was kind of neat. It was fun to do. It was a privilege to and an honor to just be asked to do it. So it was had a hoot. Wow, what's going on this week? Late models. Well, I kind of. I got a call from Todd Connell, and Todd, if you're tuning in, this has nothing personal here at all. I just go through the results, and I try to grab somebody to talk to that's a late model driver or crew member or what have you. So we need to touch base so I can get you on the show. And we can talk about a little bit about the West Coast late models because I think it's a good deal. I just kind of do this to kind of recap. I was doing some Northwest Super Late Model Series stuff, so I'm just trying to do a little bit on that, just the good local stuff that's going on around here. I know you guys can get into the past stuff and that stuff deep back east, but I just kind of think hey, out here we just kind of stick with what's going on around here. If I can get some big names. I had Peltier on last week or after the showdown, which was super cool. Great guy. And so it's just kind of the, I wouldn't say luck of the draw. Just I don't know rhyme or reason yet. I'm just kind of working on doing these after a big late model event or super late model event. So if that makes any sense to you. Madera. They were on TV. 5,000 to win on MAV TV. Madera Speedway. They're late models. Buddy Shepard won that. Garland Tyler second. Logan Zampa was third. Matt Erickson fourth. Dylan Tucker fifth. Howard Holden in the sixth spot. Jarrett Gilmer. Austin Herzog was eighth. Sheldon Cooper and Kyle Gatula. That's your top 10 for Madera. $5,000 to win on MAV TV. That's pretty sweet. Of course, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the purses. What I do know is they're probably not enough. I mean, at least for what's being spent, right? I mean, not bad-mouthing anything. Just saying they could be considerably more. Especially when I look back east and there's clone go-karts, the Hondas and the clones. They're running for 10, 15, 25. I actually went and called one. It was 50,000 to win. So, but they're running for that all every week. There's a $10,000 to win or $15,000 to win race somewhere, and those are go-karts. So. Really big. I know in the Northwest it's probably not going to ever get like that because I don't know what it is. It's like pulling teeth around here. Anything to do with racing. I mean, it's like you say racing and everybody just runs the other way. I don't know why that is, but we're just obviously not in the right neck of the woods because you can go back east and 40 miles any direction your front porch and there's probably a racetrack going on, racing going on somewhere. But still, $5,000 a win's nothing to sneeze at. I'm sure it cost him that and then some to get there, but still, you take what's there, and obviously, it's known you don't do it for the money, because if that was the case, we certainly couldn't do it here. So that's the name of that tune. West Coast Late Models were at Yakima this weekend as well. Gosh, I've been thinking about this, and I'm just wondering why they wouldn't be running along with the Northwest Super Late Model Series. I just think that would be cool. That would be an action-packed, more bang for your buck to have the West Coast Late Models running with the Northwest Super Late Model Series. I mean, granted, I know one's going to be, the main deal, but they're both the main deal. I mean, you're just running together. That gives everybody a chance to kind of get a look at each other and see what's going on. I don't know. I just think it would be kind of a cool deal, but especially in this day and age, right? I mean, we want to pack the stands. We want to put butts in the seat. What better way to do that than to have the West Coast Late Models and the Super Late Models together, the same show? I just think that would be sweet. But who knows? Maybe that'll happen someday. Twisted Tea 100 was at Yakima. They had the super stocks there too. See, so that even brings another element to it, I think. But there again, just a thought. Cody Graham took the super stocks. Mike Denton second. Don Klang third. Billy Scribner the fourth spot. Del Tucker snagged the top 5. Mike Burns 6th. 7th, Jeff Ball 8th. Mike Hill and 9th, Robbie Miller. So they had 9 super stocks there. Yeah, not bad. I mean, come on. That's not bad. Now, I don't know. I don't think. I don't know. And that's where Todd Connell, when we get him on the show here, can maybe help with that. But the Superstar, I think they're the local class there for Yakima. I don't know that they follow the West Coast Late Models around, but that's who took the super stocks. Twisted Tea 100 for the West Coast Late Models. Randy Marshall Jr. was fast time, 19.883. Andy Beeman was second quick with a 19.948. Pretty close. The Dash, Rich Peters won that. Kyle Condriff, Randy Marshall Jr., and Andy Beeman. The feature, Andy Beeman wins that bad boy. 41 minutes, 45 seconds. Randy Marshall Jr., second. Garrett Huffins, third. Brad Tidrick, fourth. I saw another Tidrick racing quarter midgets, the little guy. He was awesome. He did a good job. Todd Connell, top 5. Rich Peters, 6th. 7th, Rick Gored. 8th, Greg Coleman. 9th, Andy Soul. Super late model competitor, too. Runs a lot at Evergreen. Former standout shifter driver in the go-karts. I guess he could get it done. He was 9th. Kyle Condriff, 10th. Cody Denton, 11th. Bobby Stewart Jr., 12th. Robbie Miller, 13th. And Tim Brashears, 14th. 14? West Coast Late Models. I hear Max Schroeder popped a motor. So that's tough. I guess that's 2 motors this year for the Blingmeister. I know. I'll tell you where that came from in a minute. But so, yeah, Max Schroeder, bummer. That's a tough break. 2 motors 1 year. That's expensive, but heck of a wheel, and he's starting to come around. So hopefully their luck changes. But if you're tuned in, let me know what you think about that. Do you think it had ever happened, Joe Ransom, that maybe that? Well, I don't know. I don't know if you follow the West Coast late models that much, but I just think it would be cool to have the West Coast late models and the Northwest Super Late Model series run together. I mean, talk about bang for your buck. You talk about putting butts in the seats. And, yeah. Hey, and by the way, our guest tonight is the legend himself around here in the Northwest. His name is John Zaretzke. The guy's been around a long time. Pretty solid wheel. Going to be coming back. And so about the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to the 51, John 51, and find out what's going on. We're going to get his thoughts on what he's doing, what's coming up, and where he sees the sport, and all kinds of cool stuff. Stay tuned. That's coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. So we've been over to Madera. They race for $5,000 to win if you're just tuning in. Twisted Tea 100 for the West Coast late models. Andy Beeman wins that. Marshall, Huffins, Tidrick, and Connell, your top 5. So pretty solid. They had 14. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's only one more. That's only one less than what the Northwest Super Late models had over at Spokane for the Park Model Homes 125. The Riddle brothers showed up. I think their first appearance on the series. And Taylor Riddle sets a new track record at a 17.664. That's pretty quick. Shane Mitchell, second quick, 17.791. He would only go on to finish like 33 laps or something with problems. So, bummer there. Zamora, again, qualifies well. She qualified 4th quick. And, boy, is she solid. She's the current point leader. The Dash, Owen Riddle, Zamora, Taylor Riddle, and Mitchell. The B Dash, Glenn Knudsen, Mitch Klein. What is it? Babcock and Ed Thompson. Pretty sweet dash. But Owen Riddle wins the feature. Taylor Riddle, second. How about this one? Second generation driver Jan Evans. Jan Opperman Evans. Named after his dad's favorite racer. Jan Opperman. You know, and what's funny, I can remember the kid when he got in a quarter midget. We had to empty the track because he didn't want to get in the car. He had a hold of his Garrett's leg. He wouldn't let go of it. It was crazy. So we had to clear the whole track. Nobody could be on it. He had to go by himself. Once he did that, he came back. We couldn't get him out of the car. He didn't want to get out. It was just crazy cool. Jan Evans, he's grown up now. He's, big boy. He finishes 3rd. He qualified 5th. So Evans starting to get it, I think. Definitely starting to get it. I like Jason O'Neill, too. Jason O'Neill finishes 4th. He's not a huge budget guy, but he gets it done. I like it. I love to see those guys do pretty good. So, sweet stuff. Mitch Klein was 5th. Not bad for the wild one. Top 5. Never turned that one down. Brooke Schimmel. Her big win at Meridian here a couple weeks back. She backs it up with a 6th. Yeah, that's pretty good. Definitely good. I mean, that's better than she ran, I think, the first few races. Alan Kress was 7th. I'm not sure what Alan's deal is. He run like a house of fire at Roseburg. I don't know that they're struggling. Maybe they are. I don't know. I just know Kress is a pretty solid wheelman. So we'll see. 7th, still not bad. It's a top 10. Ed Thompson, another guy that's not a high-budget guy. I don't know that Kress is either, but Thompson, like to see him do good. He cracks the top 10. He gets an 8th. And why do I feel that way? Because I never had any money either when I did. I raced on the dirt for 10 years. Now I didn't travel around, and I wasn't near as prestigious as, the Tour or the Northwest Super Late Model Series or even the West Coast Late Models for that matter. But it was competitive. We had 20, 25 cars almost every night down at Willamette Speedway on the dirt. I mean, we had over 100 cars every Saturday night there. So I know what it's like to run with no money. It's tough. But it feels awesome when you crack that top 10 or you get a top 5 or even, or don't maybe get the win, but you're shooting for it. Awesome stuff. Glenn Knutson, 9th. He gets a top 10. Good. I like that team too. Hard-working. They just, no frills, they just work hard. Zamora, 10th. She only went 53 laps. Right front, blue, and in the wall she went. Tore the car up. It looked like it. The pictures on Facebook look like, maybe the clip got a little bit bent Ola, but they're planning on being ready for the next one, which I think is Yakima. Zamora's still the point leader. I think they lost 3 points, I think is what she said. So that's not too bad. I mean, when you got a big enough lead, that helps. But you don't want too many more of those the rest of the year. I don't think they can afford that. But, hey, get it out of the way, get it done, and good stuff there. I'm just scrolling here. I'm checking something. There we go. Tim Babcock in the 24 machine was 11th. Pete Harding, Surrey, BC. He must have problems too. He only went 44 laps. Shane Mitchell, he finished 12th. Shane Mitchell, 13th. He went 33. Braden Havens only went 25, so Havens must have definitely had problems. And Garber only went 10. I like Dave Garber. I like him. Definitely, again, another budget guy. Not a ton of it. Got a lot of experience from his dad and grown up through it. And he runs solid. Only got 10 laps in, though, Saturday night. That's a bummer. So, yeah. But get this. So they qualified. Riddle qualified at a 17.664. New track record. Riddle's best time in the feature was an 18.448. Wow, that's crazy. Riddle's was a 599, 18.599. So, boy, howdy. Dang near a full second less than what they qualified. I don't know. Is that normal? Ransom, you're crew chief. Tell me what you think on that. I mean, a full second. I mean, I know it's not normal to go as fast as you qualified. I get that, but a second off? I don't know. Maybe. You were crew chief on the K&N West series, so fill me in. What do you think? Is that pretty normal? I don't know. Can Brittany Zamora hang on to win it? Think about this one. I've been watching her since she's raced karts for quite a while. Knew she was going to be good. Then she went and raced with the with the mini stocks. Rookie season, got her first win. I was there at Hermiston. Went on to win the championship. Rookie of the year. I mean, who does all that in their first year? I mean, she was just dynamite. Then she took a year, which I'm glad Mike Zamora did. I think it was a very smart move by Mike Zamora to keep her just in the late models and ran around. She ran State Line and some other places just to get the feel of the car, which I think was great. Because sometimes I think you can well, I get that, Ransom, but I mean, you know, I don't know. Okay, I get it. You only need to go faster than the guy in P2. I get that. But you qualified at a 17.664. I don't know. Does the car really go away that much? I guess I'll ask Zaretzke that question. But that was a good deal by Mike, I think, to get her feet wet. In that same year in the mini stocks, her first season, she also won the Fall Classic. I mean, there was like 80 mini stocks there. Granted, he ran out of gas, havoc, all the cautions, but still, she wins it. She was there. She was second. Boy, that's a big season. Win the Fall Classic, win the championship, Rookie of the Year, get your first win. I mean, come on. That's awesome. Then she gets her first win in the Super Late Model Series this year at Roseburg. I mean, she beats Brandon Ash and I mean, Kress. I mean, that's their home track. So, yeah. Can she win it? I believe she can. But here's what can't happen. So they've had a little problem this year. One problem, right? Last week, Spokane. No big deal. But I don't know. Does that get the mind thinking? Oh, my goodness. But here's what I know. They have to keep attacking like they have been all year. You can't race not to lose. You have to race to win. And that'll be the only thing, I think, that will stop her from winning this deal. Is if they get gun shy. You get worried. They race not to win. You know, they conservative. They, just go for it. I think Biffle told me once, I don't even worry about. I go to win races. If you win races, you'll win your title eventually. Go to win races. And that's what I think you have to do. That's the mindset you got to have. You go to win races. You go to win it. I mean, obviously, you're not going to do stupid stuff, but I mean, still, you go to win it. The minute you start racing conservatively and hanging back and points racing, I think that's when you do it. I went through it with a guy named Bob Jeffrey down on the dirt. Outlaw car. We had it. We were good. I mean, we made the dash 19 out of 20 times. I mean, it was killer. 12 fast times. I mean, we were good. But we got to points racing, right? We had a couple bad finishes, and we, now you're down, now you're worried, and we did just the whole vibe wasn't right, and we dang near lost it because we didn't have that same attitude that we had when we were getting there. So that's what I think. This is Zamora's to lose, I do believe. And I think the only way that's going to happen is if they race not to win. They've got to race to win and not race to not lose. But Owen Riddle was the man. Let's see here. They sure could go away. Wouldn't be unheard of, right? McCain and West is a bit of a joke. I wouldn't even concern myself with the fake racers. What makes you say that? Although, the K&N West has never been, or went back when it was the Winston West. I mean, it was good when Bill Schmidt and Mike Chase and, Sumner McKnight and some of those guys were rolling it. For sure. But, it's a little bit different now, too. A lot of money, and plus they weigh a ton, right? 3,500. Isn't that 3,500 pounds or something? I don't know. NASCAR's in trouble anyway, but we won't get into that. I mean, it's crazy. They've just totally lost their way, I think. But Zamora's to lose, I do believe. They got a race to win and not race to not lose. That's my mem for them, or meme, or whatever it is. I believe they can do it, though. And wouldn't that be something? Shoot. That would be back-to-back first year's championships. I mean, that's not easy to do. 15 cars were at Spokane. Not bad. There were some that weren't there at the last one. Which is too bad. I know my man, Junior Hanley, but I doubt he wasn't. Let's see here. I'm looking for the lineup from that other one. Let's see here. There it is. Cameron McKeon in the 72. He was one guy. He was a super good guy. Yep, that was my man, Cameron. Finished 9th that night. He wasn't there. I'm surprised Zach Beeman wasn't there. He runs good there at Spokane. So Beeman wasn't there. He gave Evans fits. Matter of fact, had the lead for a while. Scared him. Right on. Phil Fowl in the house. Joe Ransom, you probably know that guy. He raced some late models too. So yeah, a solid. Riddles are tough. There was all that stuff to show down, but make no bones about it. Owen and Taylor Riddle get it done. I mean, they know how to get it done. Their cars are just immaculate. I mean, they're perfect. So good stuff. 1-2, the brothers. Jan Evans third. I'm liking Jan Evans. He's starting to come around. Here's what I think. You get so many cars in a team, something's going to suffer. It has to. We know Dad's good. We know Dad can get it done. Dad's kind of stepping down. So now it's Stephanie or Jan. But this shows you right here a third. When the focus is on Jan, and he's got Brian Andrus, one of the best crew chiefs in the series, and his dad there working, that makes a difference. He feels like he's the big gun. He's the guy. So I think that's where Jan Evans is going to blossom, is when his dad says, okay, let's focus on my son and get him rolling. Watch Jan Evans blossom. He'll be huge. Will he be like his dad? He's pretty sharp. He's a sharp kid. But boy, his dad, I don't know. His dad's pretty sharp. Mitch Klein, a 5th. That's good for them. They got a win at South Sound. That's pretty good. I think they're going over to the 200 coming up this weekend at South Sound. That should be sweet. So Joe Ransom says, my time in the K&N series and some drivers tells me it was a joke. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. The cars are cool. They look neat. You know, they're heavy. I mean, they're, it's just a ton of money, too. So, we're going to see John Zaretzke coming up here very shortly. He'll be our guest tonight. Boy, a legend around the Northwest. We're going to talk to him about his upcoming season. He didn't make the showdown. I don't know what happened there. Doesn't matter. We're not going to talk about that, but we are going to talk about what he's going to be doing. His take on the sport and where he sees it. And he's going to be calling in here very shortly. So we'll find out. Matter of fact, we'll just do this. I'm gonna buzz him myself.
Your call has been forwarded to an audio.
Oh, not there. Well, let's go over some of his stats. In the tour, he's raced 9 years, 32 races, 2 wins, 7 top 5s. What's he got here? 11 top 10s, 1 pole, 16 top 10s, 1 pole. The 2 wins were PIR, the road course, June of 2000. And also, that same year, Portland Speedway. Get this. He wins Portland Speedway. Listen to this top 5. Zaretzke wins it. Lewis, 2nd. Eaton, 3rd. Evans, 4th. Harding, 5th. It don't get no tougher than that. Sorry. It just doesn't. And the other thing that's impressive at Portland on that win was he led 1 through 150. Boom. Not too shabby. Southwest Tour raced 3 years, 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. 1 win came at Phoenix in 2001. Sweet. So we're waiting for him to call in here. John Zaretzke, our guest. Northwest Super Late Model Monday. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. The 3 most expensive things you'll do in your life are buy a house, educate your kids, and go racing. What you don't need is another expense, and that's why you take your car and tow rigs to TruTech Automotive to ensure that they are maintained and repaired the right way with the right parts at the right price. And how's this for right? Extended to all racers is the In the Family 25% discount off of all preventative maintenance and repair labor. All you have to do is use the discount code NWRR to save. Now that's right. Get it done the right way, the True Tech way. True Tech Automotive, 6900 Northeast Highway 99, Hazeldale, Washington. 360-571-2302. Racing. It's preparation. It's focus. It's attention to detail. And when you try to take shortcuts, it shows. At Speed City, Southern Oregon's karting headquarters, distributor for Ultramax, Legend, QRC, Bell helmets, and K1 race gear, they don't roll like that. Speed City is committed to roll the way champions roll by keeping racers on track with knowledge, integrity, and performance. No shortcuts, no negativity, no other motives. You don't just have their word on it, you've got their name on it. So get back to having fun and get to calling Speed City. Speed City, LLC, keeping racers on track with quality service and friendship. 541-531-1222. We are back. Trying to get a hold of Zaretzke here so we can talk to him. Crazy. We just talked to him earlier. Sent him a message. So we'll find out what's going on. We'll see. Well, let's talk late models. Shall we? Coming up, South Sound, Miller 200. That sounds like a cool event. That's going to be coming up Saturday. And I think I'm going to go. 200 laps on the 3/8 at one of the best tracks in the Northwest. It's a sleeper. It's a sleeper. Was there for the tour or for the Northwest Super Late Model race this year. And man, I forgot how awesome it was. Here he is. We're going to get him on. So 200 laps, South Sound this weekend. That's going to be pretty cool. John Zaretzke. What is
Terry Bridges, how's it going?
What's going on, my man?
I'm right here. I'm just I'm helping some crew guys with some domestic stuff. You know how that goes?
Yeah, I do know. Mean the boss?
Well, no, some crew guys. Some of my crew members, some of my friends, some of my one of them's moving, so we're helping him finish up move here so we can get back to race cars before the end of the evening and get to the racetrack. You know.
Well, I won't keep you too long. Welcome to Super Late Model Monday. We're hanging out, and I was just looking. I hope I got my stats right, but man, in 2000 you were kind of solid. You had 2 wins at PIR and at Portland.
Yeah, I won the last. I won the last asphalt race at Portland Speedway. So last tour race there, last asphalt tour race there. So nobody can ever do that again. So we did that, and I guess I would probably classify myself as most people might not because of my credentials and my history, but I would say I'm probably a road race ace. I like road racing better than most anything. But I don't like the fact that we don't race stock cars on road race tracks because I still like to bang into stuff.
Wow. Well, now,
yeah, my road race history is pretty deep. For stock cars, I've been to the LA Street Race 2 times by invitation from Ford. I have been to Sears Point and ran a few races there. I've ran some SCCA stuff. I've been at Pacific. That's what we're supposed to call it, is Pacific, but SIR a couple of times.
Yeah, Pacific Raceway. Yeah.
Car.
Wow.
Yeah, so I really like road racing. I just don't like the wine and cheese aspect of it.
Yeah. What's the wine and cheese? Just all the fluff?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of road racing because most of them have proximity alarms. If you're within 10 feet of their Corvette, they're nervous. And I like to race cars that are about an inch away from each other.
Right, right. So now, what made you decide to start running the tour stuff when you first started? How'd you get into that? Were you road racing before and then said, man, I want to try this going left stuff?
No, I actually have always been a circle track guy. Originally, I started a long time ago. I never, ever had any aspirations of being a driver. I worked on my dad's stock car at Evergreen Speedway and then ultimately became the crew chief on it. And he won, as you all probably know, quite a few championships there. And my brother, which most people... It slips by most people, but the one-armed guy that races the figure-8 car at Evergreen Speedway, Quentin Borson, is my brother. We have different fathers, same mother, so that tends to elude most people that we are brothers. But he bought me my first street stock in the day called Bombers from none other than the great Greg Scott at Evergreen Speedway. And I was really super excited about going racing in it, not because I wanted to drive, but it was an opportunity for me to make all the decisions on a race car without any outside influence. So I went street stock racing in 1988, became which is the only stat I ever put on any entry form. Anywhere I go still today is I'm the 1988 Bomber Rookie of the Year at Evergreen Speedway.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's super awesome. Well,
Yeah, so it was there, and then it ran a couple more years, and then I dabbled in some late model stuff. Spent a majority of my time racing late models with Chris Cunningham as a crew guy and Joe Constance as a crew guy. And then one day decided I'm going to get a late model car, so I went late model racing.
Well, did Wayne, was he your crew chief, or was that more on your dad's stuff? He passed away. Wayne, I never did know. What's his last name? Wayne. He was Foxy's crew chief for years.
Oh, Wayne Miller.
Yes.
No, he helped my dad some. We traveled in the same circles. Mostly bought Fox's deal. We just ended up crossing paths a lot. No, I don't know if it's I certainly don't want to sound like, I don't know what race car driver isn't an egomaniac, so it's hard not to sound like you have an ego when you're a race car driver. But
no, it's okay.
For the most part, I've never had a crew chief. There was a portion of my career where one of my best friends, Rodney Thorsness, built the motors. He was a co-car owner the first year that I won a championship at Evergreen Speedway in 1998 in late models. And he owned the car with Lee Daly. So we kind of shared crew chief roles. There was days I didn't want to do any crew chiefing at all from the driver's seat, and he did all the crew chiefing. And there was days he didn't want to do anything except for tune the motors and make changes to the car that I called out. And there was days that we did it together. But for the most part, there's never really ever been a crew chief on my car. Probably because my obsessive-compulsive disorder doesn't allow me to not have involvement in making changes to the race.
And I get that. I get that. But isn't a crew chief supposed to, at the end of the day, the driver's supposed to make the last call anyway, right? So he's just there.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Jimmy Johnson fan, so I'm pretty sure I'd say if Chad Knaus wasn't there, Jimmy Johnson wouldn't be anything. And there is a guy, Chad Knaus, who I allowed to make every decision on my race car anytime he wanted, as long as Jimmy Johnson wasn't anywhere near it.
Wow. Yikes. Well, tell us what's going on this year. I see you got a new car. It's kind of exciting. I see that you're going to be running at South Sound this weekend. Right? Is that Saturday night, right?
Yeah. There's some practice Friday night, and then there's Saturday night, the Miller 200. That's South Sound's big late model show for the season. It'll be a first for me. I've never ran the Miller 200, either from scheduling conflicts or sponsor commitments or wherever it was. And this year for me is a little different.
Well, now
I haven't really I haven't raced a car since I haven't raced a car consistently. The last time I raced a car on a regular basis was 2008. Everything since then has been dabbling in driving a customer's car, someone else's car, being asked to drive a car for one or two races at a time. And I know that this is the middle of the year starting. This is my own program put back together. Usually we use this my own program anytime there's a 51 on it, but it's my own program, and this is the prelude to get to 2018. The plan is currently, and we're going to fulfill it. We're going to run every race in 2018 at Evergreen Speedway for a championship.
Nice.
Yeah.
Way nice. So you've been...
Well, it's better than sitting at home or working on somebody's car who you don't think can run up front.
Right. But you're helping them out, trying to help them. That's all you can do.
Well, the ones I don't think that can win, I help them because they pay.
Ah.
The ones that I help for free because they're my friends and I think they can win, and that's the payback.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, do you think you've been out of it? I mean, 08, that's a bit, right? I mean, here and there, here and there, hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think you can still learn when you're not actually in the seat? Do you think you can learn just by watching?
How to drive?
No, just everything. I mean, do you think you'll learn when you're out of it for a while? My belief is you can.
I think that I learned monumentally more than I did in the seat, because when I was out of it, maybe not from a driving aspect, but definitely from a crew chiefing or a setup aspect. When I got out of the race car in 2008, I was still fighting as hard as I could against bump stops and big bar soft spring setups. Now I have the tools, I have the necessary items, and feel like we've gained enough knowledge. Certainly not all of it. I think if you quit learning in this game, if you think you know it all, if you think that there's no more left for you to learn, then it's time to quit, because I try to learn something every time I go to the racetrack. If I don't learn something every time I go to the racetrack, I'm usually pretty disappointed in myself. So, but I think from a setup and what we need in the race cars aspect, I'm getting back in a race car with way more knowledge than I got out of the race car.
Can a conventional car still win? Or is that bump stop thing just, I mean, is it worth all the work? I mean, because it looks to me, I'm looking at that, and trying to set one of them up, it looks like a bear. I mean, you got to drop the thing on the ground, and, I mean, holy cow.
I think this is how I explain it. When I have a customer come to me, I think a good example would be Greg Stott, who's an old guy, a transformation from figure eight racing to late model racing now. I don't think he's got the best equipment. I don't think he's the best race car driver in the world, but I think he is a talented race car driver. And he's on in years for a guy who's going to transition from figure eight racing to oval track racing. And I think if you'd ask anybody where he was a couple Saturdays ago, Saturday ago at the showdown, while he had some tribulation and got a flat tire, I remember hearing from Nema Lang that he said, "Man, that guy's fast." As he drove around Nema Lang, and he drove around a bunch of cars, and he ran a lap or two down, but fourth place in the grid as the cars were in running order. And you're talking about a guy with a 2009 Port City chassis with a 2016 clip on it that we put on over the winter, that didn't want anything to do with bump stop setups. And between myself and Nick Ben and Harley Bove at Port City Race Cars, convinced him that you aren't going to be competitive if you don't have this stuff. And I explained it to him when he came, and this is pretty much how I believe it goes. The window of error or margin that you got to get in with a bump stop setup, if you were to put it on a scale in front of you on the computer, is if you had a 12-inch scale, you need to get inside about 3/4 of an inch with the bump stop setup. And if you do, no one's ever going to beat you. And if you got a conventional setup, you have a parameter of getting inside a window about 3 inches of having your race car good. But if somebody gets within that 3/4 with their bump stop setup, you're not going to beat them. And I think that's really where it is. And, it's, you and I talked before doing this, doing this interview about, maybe where we thought racing was or where I thought.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
that's a big problem in stock car racing, because the race cars are so fundamentally easy now when you get them right. When the race car is right and you're within that window, anyone can drive it. Anyone with a mite bit of talent can drive the race car, and it doesn't take people with phenomenal talent in this sport to do that anymore. And while I might be a guy that some people don't like for saying it, that's why 12-year-old kids can do this and run with guys who've done it for years and years and years.
Right.
And that's the really, and I'm a, I don't think I've ever pulled any punches and told anybody I was worried about being PC. I call them toddlers. I don't like toddlers. I don't like people whose daddies buy their way through the program to get them where they are, to get them to the point that they are. When there's guys that have struggled their whole entire racing careers and watch some snot-nosed kid that thinks he's entitled, that has no business doing this, get here because somebody paid his way.
Right. Because he doesn't love it. He's just doing it because he can do it. And if he'll just quit if he's no good or he's not fast enough or whatever.
Yeah. If you look at it and you do a little digging, 9 times out of 10, they got the stock car racing because they weren't fundamentally good enough to play baseball.
Right.
So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, this thing is a passion, and there is. I mean, you probably feel like I do. Okay, like you said, well, there's some guys that obviously aren't going to win, right? They don't have the money to get the equipment, or they don't have the talent. But you know what? On the flip side of that, John, is those guys have to be there. They are a major part of the show, right? I mean, the Pete Nashes and the other guys of the world that are buying everybody's hand-me-down stuff, or Lori Culver, those kind of guys.
Right.
You love them because they love the sport. They're there because they love it, and they're digging, and they probably know they're no good, but
I know him, and right, and we're friends, but they'll be mad at me, right? Because I actually think there are people that listen to this show on a regular basis as well. But let's keep it modern day. That's Tommy Rasmussen and Tim McDougall. Those guys have a monumental passion for this sport. Now, I don't know that I think I've been pretty boisterous with them and saying, I don't think they do their programs right. I'm a fan of, when I get to the racetrack, you may be at the racetrack and I'm not there for the showdown. But when my stuff gets there, I'm not working on it all day long. I don't want to go to the racetrack and work on my race cars. I don't want to go to the racetrack and take valve covers off. I don't want to take carburetors off. I don't want to adjust timing. I don't want to do those things. Those are things that you do at the shop and you're ready to go. And I don't want to change motors at the racetrack. Now, there's circumstances that put you in that, but it shouldn't be every time you get to the racetrack. But I think those are those guys. If we don't have those, then our sport starts to decline. Because, quite honestly, if you want to have 30, 35 car fields, there has to be cars that run 35th. There just has to be.
Right. And that's no disrespect to those guys at all. I mean, certainly not.
No. I would take Tommy Rasmussen. I would take Tommy Rasmussen over Mike Holden any day of the week. Because you at least know how he's going to run you. He doesn't run around like a pompous, entitled ass. And he doesn't think because he won a championship, it makes him someone great. It's no different than in life. You want some respect, you got to earn your respect. You don't just get it because you won a race.
Amen. Well, they say you get the W, but as soon as you get the W, it means nothing anymore, right? you celebrate that night,
Well,
but now it's on, and nobody really. It doesn't matter anymore. You're on to the next one. If you're so, what are your thoughts on Peltier? You watched him run. Do you like his program?
Well, I mean, how would you not like any program that isn't that's not the Hampton House car, right? I mean, Preston Pelletier, he's the guy. I don't care what anybody says. He's the guy. He is a guy, right? You're talking about a guy who's West Coast based, who gets all the way to the East Coast, who, right, is engaged to be married to someone from the West Coast now. He's all over, right? He's covering the gamut, man. That guy's passion, right? And that's all I care about ever is passion. That guy's passion. He has followed his dream anywhere logistically or geographically it took him. And that's all I care about. And it's super awesome to see that he's successful doing it, right? Because, I mean, Kevin Simbaris is a great human being. Involved still in auto racing. But here's a perfect example of a guy who could drive a race car, had some money to back him up, and followed his passion all the way to the East Coast, and it didn't come to fruition. So, hell yeah, you gotta give Preston Pelletier all the accolades, right? Because right now, he is the one. From our group, from my era, from people our age, he's the one doing it, right? People say, oh well, yeah, but he's not cup racing. You can have cup racing.
Thank you.
And, I'd be involved in cup racing and watching cup racing on TV. Unfortunately, when Brian Francis passed on or retired, because he's ruining NASCAR racing.
Yeah, it's a joke. Give me a short track race. I've said this all along. Late models are. I mean, give me a short track, half mile, 5/8, 3/8, whatever, any day of the week. You can have it. You can have it.
I've always been a super late model guy. I've always been a super late model fan. I've always known about it. I've known about. I was fortunate enough to go to North Carolina last year as the championship crew chief for Name Lang's race car, and I didn't even get the opportunity to crew chief it every week as I had customer cars, but I tried to put in what I could right out without being paid on a gentleman's car. And him and I and some people from his program and Donnie won it, and our significant others, wives and girlfriends, we went to, and Trent Moriarty was there as the Rookie of the Year, had a great time with him as well. We went to North Carolina to Charlotte for the banquet. And I sat down and eyebrow beat Name Lang and Donnie Bonnet up one side and down the other, because Steve Carlson was sitting at our table, and I could not believe that they did not know one of the greatest super late model race car drivers in the world. And I'm like, I sat down, it was in awe. It was just him and his wife, and I was more starstruck than if you'd have sat me with Justin Bieber. I wanted to talk to him about the number 66 Trop Arctic super late model car that he drove. He has drove wherever he's drove, and those guys mean something to me. And man, if anybody ever wants to know what a non-politically correct dude that is all about super late model racing, and I'll give you his opinion, give you some great photos, great videos, and great insight, and is an uplifting human being. And you're on Facebook or Instagram, mostly Facebook is where if you don't look up Donnie Wilson in the number 2 car out of Oklahoma, that guy is it. He knows exactly where our sport is. He knows exactly where it needs to go, and he knows exactly where it's jacked up. And anybody who's passionate about our sport should look into that guy and follow that guy on Facebook.
Donnie Wilson, I will do that. But with that being said, I want your opinion of where are we at right here? Do we have too many series? Should we be? Are there too many separates? Are we making people? Are we dividing them? Are we making them choose? Where do you see it,
man?
I mean,
That is that right? Isn't it right? You're asking the question that has been trying to be answered for the last 30 years, and I don't think I'm the most philosophical enough person in stock car racing.
Yeah, but you've got your opinion on it.
Yeah, I know. I do.
That's all I care about. Just like your passion. That's all. It's an opinion.
Right. Here's my opinion. You can't blame the promoter when things aren't always right, because it isn't 1986 anymore, and you can't compete. He's not competing anymore with just the movie house, with just the Cineplex, right? He's competing with everything. He's competing with 18 and under clubs. He's competing with 21 and under clubs, 21 and over clubs. He's competing with movie houses, restaurants, everything. There's so many more things to do on a Saturday night, right? And then on top of it, he's got to compete with that moron Brian France putting races on TV. But what needs to happen? I don't know what needs to happen. It's a vicious cycle of life. I had this conversation with Doug Hobbs. It's the vicious cycle of life. The promoter, and this is my pet peeve, pissed me off more than anything in the world. The promoter comes in. He busts his ass to make the racer feel welcome, where he's at, what it needs to be, what needs to happen, work on cheeseburgers and fries and soda and beer and the right price, and getting people in the grandstands and cleaning up the dump that was the racetrack that he inherited, bought, or had to take over because somebody else didn't take care of it. And we do all those things, but it's the moment that you get 40 race cars to your marquee event, to use the word, and then you start to take advantage of the racer, and you start to not take care of them, and then next thing you know, you got 25 cars. Then pretty soon, right? Pretty soon you turn away race cars. You turn away as many race cars as was a full field 7 years earlier. And then at that point, I start to see these bullshit posts on social media about how if I, as a racer, don't support my racetrack, it's not going to be here. And then what am I going to do when it's not? No. It's no different than cheeseburgers at McDonald's. If you give me shitty service and you give me a terrible cheeseburger and I don't come to your place anymore and you go out of business, that's on you. It's your business, not mine. Not my job to support you through the terrible times just because you needed help. Race car drivers pay a lot of money to roll through the back gates, and we should be treated like customers everywhere we go. No different than the fans. That is my opinion on stock car racing and the state of it. We need to start being treated like customers. I will say it. I do like the ABC template program for stock cars, but I do not like it if you pick and choose what it is. You either work directly out of the rule book every race all year long, or throw the thing away, because you can't pick and choose which races you're going to do. You're talking about, right? And I said I wasn't going to do this, and I'm not doing this, calling it straight out. But you're talking about volunteer crew guys for the most part, aside from 5 or 6 teams at best, that have to take 4 days off of work, 3 days off of work to show up to a racetrack, to support a show that's drug on way too long. And in exchange for that, we got to spend it. I mean, sometimes I'll call it to the carpet, and so right now I will. Jeff Knight told me a race car that has raced all year, him and his guys spent 20 hours working on templates to get to the last race. That is ridiculous. That's what's wrong with our sport.
And Wilbur Bruce agrees, because I know I read his post and he said the same thing. He said that's the surest way to kill. Is that right there?
Exactly. So, I mean, we're talking about volunteer guys taking days off of work, taking money away. I don't care if they're using vacation. If they're using vacation, they're not using it with their family. I can tell you right now, may not be all the reason, but I am no longer in a family because of stock car racing. Now, that's the path I've chosen, and I'm going to stand tall because of that, because that was the person I was when I got there. But I'm going to tell you, when you tell people that they've got to take money away from their family, their friends, their work to come and support your business, and then on top of it, they got to spend another 20, 40, 60 hours preparing to get a race car to a race that they should never have to do. And people will say, well, you don't think that we should have templates? And I'll say, no, that's not at all what I said. What I said is either enforce those rules from the start of the season all the way through every race to the end of the season so there's no surprises, or don't support them at all. Because it's ridiculous to take race cars that have been at racetracks time and time again and then all of a sudden tell them, yeah, you're not legal.
Well, my question is, because I don't know, but I mean, I'm hearing they fit a template. Okay, so what's this referee? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, is there two different template things? Does one fit over the car?
Well, the template fits the contour of the body, and the referee basically measures the height parameters based off of a ground plane, if you will.
Okay.
So how tall does your roof have to be? It needs to be 47 inches. Okay, the referee follows a profile that you're supposed to fit within.
Got it.
It's very complicated. It's very stupid. And most of the time I try to keep my cars within the parameters of ABC rules because tech guys don't believe me, but I'm not an aero engineer. So I've never had a race car to the wind tunnel, but I know Five Star, the only company that I'll use, that I'll sell, that I'll take care of. I will work on the other manufacturer's brand because the customer will come with it. But the only one that we put on in our shop is Five Star. And I know Five Star's been to the wind tunnel. And they've made the best program they can within the parameters of the confines of the rules that have been set forth. So what does some hillbilly idiot from Monroe, Washington think he's going to do like myself by starting to manipulate those things? What? Because some other idiot from like 3 cities over told me that's what I should do? Man, I'm just going to do what the manufacturer says to do. People say it all the time to me in the 604 crate world. Well, what do you do here? What do you do there? What do you do there? I do what GM tells me to do. Because last I checked, those engineers were better than Bill Hunt.
For sure. They've spent millions on that crap.
Exactly.
But my question is, John, and then we'll wrap it up, but you can't tell me though. Okay, that's I get the promoter thing. I get it. I totally and I'm behind you. I'm one of those guys like you. If it's in the rule book, you better use it. You can't take a rule out of a rule book and use it when you want to. If it's in there, otherwise, if you're going to do that, get rid of it. That doesn't belong in there.
Right.
But
yep.
Is there more? I mean, there's got to be more to it. I mean, are we making people pick and choose? I mean, travel and you know the traveling series. I mean, is it too much? I mean,
well, of course it is, right? Like, I mean, I'm trying to basically speak to short track racing on Saturday night because I think that's the only viable option for race car drivers right now in the Pacific Northwest. After me, and I'll go on record and say this, after I mismanaged my time working on other people's race cars, I did not get my race car done in time to show up to run the Summer Showdown. That's on me. That's not on the racetrack. That's not on anybody else. That was me. I chose to put friends, not customers, friends' cars in front of mine because that's the human being I am. And I didn't make the show because I didn't get my car done. That's on me. But I will say this: after that, that the North, I'm going to try to be nice here. The Northwest Super Late Model Series. I think that's what they call it because,
Yeah.
I give them all a hard time all the time about you've changed the name so many times. I don't know what to call it. It's a traveling series. And if you say it's not, then it's a Spokane-based series, and I don't live anywhere near Spokane. They made phone calls to me. They tried to make concessions to get me to come run Saturday night, and I just had to say to them, hey, I'm not in a spot in my life that I can go to Spokane and race. That means logistically finding a way for, if wives and girlfriends want to go, housing or accommodations for 12 to 15, 16 people, getting there, the vehicles it takes to do that, the trucks and trailers it takes to do that, what it takes to do it. Logistically, it was a nightmare. I said, I can't even come. I said, what do we need to do to get you to come? Well, then you need to write me a check for $5,000, because that's, if you're telling me you want me to come and be an entertainer and support your show, then I need $5,000 or I can't do it. And that's the bottom line for me. It was somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000 click for me to go run the race in Spokane. And yeah, why can't we do that? Because it doesn't pay enough money to start the race. That's the bottom line.
Could we do it? Could we do it with less events, closer together? Like, say, remember, I think they had the tri-track thing. What was it? Yakima, Wenatchee.
I don't know. Like, how about this? How about we just put it into this perspective? You're married. You spend some time with your family. You're doing your podcast. You're doing your thing. Here's where it is. Would it be easier if we only did it 3 times a year? And could you still feasibly do it, even though there's going to be so many more things to manage that the money could go to? But you only need to come up with $10,000 3 times a year, Terry, instead of $3,000 10 times a year.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to. If I got $10,000 in my bank account, I'm probably not spending it on going racing unless it's 2 weeks before the race.
Well, yeah.
Most of us don't, right? It's amazing to me.
But there's got to be a way for us to sit down and get this. I mean, 15 cars ain't going to cut it. I mean, you're not going to put asses in the seat with 15 cars. Sorry. I mean, even 15 really good ones, you're not going to put asses in the seats.
This is what I equate it to. I fortunately, knock on wood, I haven't had to go to court for a traffic ticket in a long time. Now, there was a time in my life, no one would believe that, but I haven't had to. It's like $391 if you don't have. You could have insurance, but if you don't have your insurance card, it's like $165 for a 10 over speeding ticket. If that doesn't say to you right there, yeah, you shouldn't break the law, but if it doesn't say to you that at the forefront of our government, they're handing out fines that are like, I don't know. I used to think it was nothing. $165, which is what it costs us to buy a super late model tire at Monroe, is a lot of money.
That's a tire?
A tire.
A tire.
Mounted. A tire at Evergreen Speedway, after tax, after mounting, after all the BS, after disposal fee of your old tire, 160. Somebody's going to correct me, right? Because I know it went up or whatever, but it's 165, give or take. $165. That is a lot of money. That is.
That's $330 for 2 tires.
Okay. And
wow.
If you make $25 an hour slinging cheeseburgers in downtown Seattle because you believe in all the liberal bullshit, then if that's what you buy into, how many hours do you have to swing cheeseburgers down in Seattle?
A
to buy
lot.
a tire?
A lot.
Right. Okay. That is where it is. Now, I will say this. Doug Hobbs and Tracy Hobbs have done a good job of having some events that have boosted up the amount of money that it pays to start the races and it pays to win the races. Right? Because for the longest time, we at Evergreen Speedway, we just kept getting paid the same $1,000 my dad got paid in 1985. But it doesn't matter how many times you get paid $300 to start. If it costs you, and I'm not saying that we should make money stock car racing. I mean, I think that would be ludicrous. But NASCAR has gotten themselves a racket, and stock car racing has gotten themselves a racket. When was the last time that you saw, right? When was the last time you saw an actor pay to get on screen and entertain the fans so that the producers and cinematographers and directors and exactly
never.
We're entertainers, right? And I think that's a big problem with why there's not butts in the seats. It isn't necessarily that it's 15 cars, right?
Well, my final question to you is, what happened with this crate motor? I thought that was supposed to save the day. I remember when the ASA, when it first came out, what was it? $4,500 or $5,000 or whatever it was, completely sealed. Everybody was going to run it. It was going to make it a driver's series. The cars, the tires, all that, but the motors were all going to be the same. And now the thing's out of control. I mean, 45. I mean, then you got to buy. Somebody said it's $12,000 or $13,000 or $15,000 by the time you're all said and done. I mean, I don't know what happened to that. How did it get out of hand?
I don't know, but because in 2006, I built a brand new car, and it had the most badass Ford motor you could put in the thing, and I was at the pinnacle. This is where I wanted to be, driving a race car that I built with my own two hands, with a Ford motor in it, because I don't want anybody else's POS motor. And at the end of the year, they told me, hey, you got to throw all those away and put these GM 604 crates in. And I said, yeah, I don't run Chevrolet motors. I'm under contract to Ford. And they said, well, then you don't race at your home track. A racetrack, mind you, I'm not from Monroe, Washington. I'm from Lakewood, Washington, North Lakewood, Washington, just north of Marysville. When I was old enough to move out on my own, I moved to Monroe because it was close to my home racetrack, the same racetrack that will be my home racetrack forever, and that's Evergreen Speedway. And they told me I need to throw away my motors and put these stupid-ass GM crate motors in there. So, you know what I did? I did. And I ran the program in 07 and 08. And in 07, I won a championship with a crate motor in. In 08, I finished second to Name Lang, right? And then I got out because I don't want to race with Chevrolet motors. I don't like them. The only way it'd be worse is if you told me I had to race with a Dodge motor. So,
did it save you any money? Did it save you any money running the crate? Was it any cheaper?
Sure. Yeah, it did. It did, because I could buy motors for less money than it cost me to freshen my big motors. So it did save me money. But then all of a sudden, the economy took a turn, right, and where it was. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, we can't make everybody get crate motors. And then next thing you know, we're allowing open motors to run at a different weight variable than crate motors. And then pretty soon, because they're race car drivers and they're whiny prima donna bitches, they start whining until the big motors are exactly where we are now. You can't win with a crate motor unless the stars align. And everybody said, but who's the minority? You mean the kid that's got a brand new crate 525? Yeah, an exceptional program with a Northwest renowned crew chief, Jesse Jensen. His dad is a multi-time champion, and the kid has gobs of freaking talent in a brand new race car. Sure, he's going to win with a 604 crate, but he'd probably win a whole bunch more with a Hammer Ford in there.
Right.
But so.
But then you fire. I mean, I'm listening to these things, and I listen to motors, and I'm like, there's no way that's a crate. Oh yeah, it is. They know how to massage them now. So what? They're cutting behind the bowl, the valve, all this stuff. You can't see it. You can't, what, why? I mean, so,
right, because there's no tech, because it's not competitive, because we'd rather work on hiring guys to fly in to tech race cars to measure stupid ass body measurements than tech engines. That's really where we are. Joe Constance has a perfect synopsis to all this. Rule 1, don't change the rules. Rule 2, enforce the rules. Rule 3, if you can't enforce the rule, delete it. That's pretty much how this has got to go.
Right.
So.
John, dude, thank you.
Hey, no problem. I enjoyed being on. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Hopefully the next time is from Winter Circle at the Miller 200 next Saturday night.
I'm going to be there. So.
All right. We'll see you then. Thanks, man.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
John Zaretzke. No doubt where he stands. I don't think. You agree? Do you disagree? Do you think he cares? I don't think he does. But here's what I do know. As a racer, you owe it to not only yourself, but the rest of the race. If there's something, you've got to stand up, and you got to stand for it. What do they say? You got to stand up for something or you'll fall for anything. I mean, if you believe, dig your heels in. I don't know. Would I own a crate? I mean, is it worth is it a 50-pound weight break? If it's only 50 pounds, hell no. I'd go a big motor any day. Can I afford one? That's the other question. So there again, I've said before, sometimes it's not always the destination, but the journey. So, do you like being in the race car? Do you like making laps? Granted, going for the win is a given. That's why you do it. So we're not even going to talk about that. But if you had the choice of getting in the race car and racing 150 laps and knowing the odds of winning were probably not very good. I mean, you could still run the top 5 or whatever, maybe even second, but if winning was going to be kind of would you still do it? Or would you bag it? And that's where it is for a lot of guys. I think a lot of guys is, do you love to go racing? Do you like being in the car? Do you like driving it? Do you like, is it always about the W? I don't know that it is anymore. I know for me, if I had a shot, sure, I'd like to win. I would love to win. That's the whole point. But even if I knew it was going to be tough, but I still, let's just face it. If I went today, myself, and somebody said, here's a car, Terry, go for it. I would know right out of the gate. There's probably not any chance of me winning, that first year. Pretty confident. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100 It's a lot of experience there, a lot of stuff to get to know, especially if you've never done it or run on asphalt. I've run on dirt, but I haven't run on asphalt. Whole different deal. So, yeah, I have some knowledge. Dirt. Does it carry over? Yeah, some. But would it mean I turn it down? For me? Hell no. I'd be in it in a minute. For the experience. To be able to say I did it. To just say I ran against those guys. Yeah, I'd want to win. If I kept doing it, yeah, I'd be trying to do better and get the trick stuff. But even if I couldn't, I'd still be doing it because it'd be in the car. That's where it is, I think. You look back, you make it, you're all, boom, you make the big time. What do you look back on? You look back on the struggles. You look back on the times when it was tough and the road trips and the, times you were struggling and then you finally hit it and everything came together and you remember all that stuff. You don't really remember making it to the big time. The big time means nothing now. I mean, you're there, but all you do is remember the struggle getting there. That's what you remember. That's what you talk about. That's what when you're all done, your suit's off and you're never going to get in again, those are the things you talk about. The road trips, the people, hey, remember when so-and-so, that's where it is. But that's what you got to ask yourself around here. I don't know. John Zaretzke, thank you. That was straight up. And nobody should be mad. If anybody takes offense to that, shame on them. One man's opinion. He's a racer. Does it mean it's going to change? No. But he's got to stand. At least he's not all wishy-washy and, following the Jones or whatever. He's got to stand. He believes in it. And he's willing to say something about it. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Doesn't make him a bad racer. Doesn't make him hateful or a hater or doesn't like the promoters or none of that. He's a racer. He's got an opinion, and he's standing up for it. And that's what he believes. And that's what every racer has to have in order to get good, is their own belief system and on how they see things operate. Until you have that, you're just going to be running around asking everybody, learning nothing, because you're going to be getting 25 different answers, and you've got no way to judge whether or not it's hogwash or not, because you don't even have your own belief system. So there it is. Super Late Model Monday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. Spread the word if you like the show. Listen in. We'll be back on Wednesday night. We touch bases on a whole bunch of different stuff. We do karting. We try to do it all. We do a little sprint cars. We do a little late model. We do a little karting. We do a little tech. We do a little news. We do a little, try to give you pointers. Some of which you guys, if you're experienced racers, you probably already know. But they're just reminders. Sometimes we forget. Spread the word for me. I appreciate you guys. I do this for you. I'm not getting rich. I pay to do this. I get few bits for the ad, but I'm not making a ton of money doing this. I just do it because I love the sport. I love racers. I love meeting new people. That's what it's all about for me. I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. Until the next time on Super Late Model Monday, remember, make a stand. Stand up for something. Good night.